Hey guys, it's me, Mike. I know there's been some confusion about the current waiver system and what was proposed to change, so I'm here to explain it. I'm going to run through an example of how waivers work. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and explain them. So for starters, we are going to start with what a player on waivers is. There's two types of players on waivers. There's game start waiver players. That's anybody who is unowned at the start of their league's, at the start of their team's game. Then there's drop waivers, which is any player who is dropped from another active WFL roster. The only difference between these two types of players is when their claim processes. We'll get into that a little bit later, but game start waivers will process at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Drop waivers will process 24 hours after the player gets dropped initially. So, if a player goes unclaimed, that player will become a free agent, and free agents are awarded first come, first serve. So we're going to start this example by looking at our initial order. As you can see, our initial order and our initial players claimed. Column A is the waiver priority number. Column B is the owner. For this example, I just used the reverse order of our draft order because I thought it would be kind of fun. So in this situation, over here in column B, that's our owners. B-Paul's had the worst week. We're going to say this is after week 1. So B-Paul's was last in the standings. This, no matter what we decide to do, whether we change our system or not, will not change. The first waiver claim will always go to whoever had the worst week. So in this situation, B-Paul's lost and scored the lowest amount of points, so he's given first waiver priority. Gary was second worst, so second lowest points, also lost. Second lowest waiver priority all the way down here to Talib, where Talib, won and had the most points, so he has the 18th waiver priority. So, as I mentioned, B-Pauls has the first waiver priority. B-Pauls has put in his claim for Adams, A. Adams. So B-Pauls has the first priority. B-Pauls will get Adams on his team, as we see right here. Adams is now on B-Paul's team. That's over here. I'm going to zoom this out so you guys can see all of my nifty arrows and shit. B-Pauls now has Adams on his roster, and if you'll notice, B-Pauls is now the 18th team in the priority. Now, what about Ahmad? Ahmad also had a claim in for Adams. Ahmad will lose his claim for Adams because, obviously, Adams is now on B-Paul's roster. So, after this, we move on to the player. So B-Paul's drops to 18. Everybody else moves up one spot. So now we have the second claim processed, which is Gary Bush. Gary Bush will also, in this situation, get his first player because his first player was Bartson. So, picked up a pattern. A, B, next up is C, as we can see right there. So Bartson is now on Gary's roster. Nobody else had a claim in for Bartson anywhere along the lines. So they will not lose. Nobody will lose anything off this. Gary will then move from first waiver priority to 18th waiver priority. Now, Ahmad tried to put in a claim for Adams, who B-Paul's got. Ahmad had nobody else lined up in his second or third spots. So Ahmad has nobody there to claim. So Ahmad maintains the number 1 waiver priority. So the next claim will go to TJ. TJ will get his first player in line, which in this case is Chambers. Okay? Now, there were 2 other people who had a claim in on Chambers. We had Hank, who had a claimant on Chambers, and we had Gary, who had a claimant on Chambers. Gary, yes, already got a player, but Chambers was in his second spot, so Chambers slides over into his first spot. If Chambers was there when Gary got up again, Chambers would have gone to Gary. So, as we can see, Hank will not be able to claim Chambers because Chambers is on TJ's roster. So Fryer will move in to Hank's first spot. Nobody will be in Gary's first spot anymore because he has nobody down here in his second, third, fourth, etc., etc. So now we go on to the next claim. It's Hank, because Ahmad does not have anyone claimed still. It goes to Hank. Hank puts in his claim for Fryer. Alright, Fryer was in nobody else's lineup. Nobody else's claims here. So, what does that mean? Nothing. It means that Fryer is on Hank's roster, and that's that. He drops to 18. Everybody else moves up a spot. Notice that Ahmad still has not used his claim. Ahmad is still has first claim to a player. But because he has no one there, it goes to the next person, which is now Emmett Bush. Emmett Bush has a claim in for Hagrid. Now in this example, Kellen also had a claim in for Hagrid. I know this is getting repetitive, but I want to make sure you guys get it, and if you don't, we'll figure that out. So, Kellen loses his claim for Hagrid because Hagrid is now on Emmett's roster. Yay. That's that. So, Kellen will not have anybody to claim because he didn't put anybody else afterwards. So next up, that claim processes, and now we have the next claim. The sixth claim is Ethan Strayer Luke Benoit claiming Daniels. Alright, Daniels was in priority for both Strayer and TJ, so he will slide out there. Their second player will slide into that first spot. So McDaniels will slide into TJ's first spot. Gustafsson will slide into Strayer's first spot. This doesn't affect anyone else, other than the fact that Luke Benoit, goes from that second spot as down to the 18th spot, and everybody else slides up one. We then process the next claim, which is Jason Shue. Jason processes in a claim for Alfred. Alright, nobody else had anyone, so nothing else happens except Jason will fall to 18th and everyone else will slide up one spot. Eighth claim, Strayer putting in for Gustafsson. So I had a claim in for Gustafsson because Strayer beat me to him or had the better claim priority than I did. Strayer gets him. I do not get him. I do not have a second or a third player claimed, and thereby I will not have anyone to claim even though it would be my priority to next. And because I don't, and because the person after me is Kellen does not, the next claim will go to the next person in line, which right here we see is Matt Trigger. Matt Trigger has Isthmith. I don't know why I didn't choose island or something, but instead I chose a word I can't pronounce. So, whatever. Matt Trigger gets player I. Matt gets him on his roster, doesn't affect anyone else because no one else had a claim in for him. Then Matt falls down to 18th and everybody else slides up one until they can't slide anymore. Case in point, Kellen, myself, Ahmad. We have not used that claim. Next up, we have Evan Konsowitz claiming John Jacob Jingleheimer. Luke Olson also had a claim in for Jingleheimer. Luke does not get him. Luke does not have another player set up. So, Luke then is locked in there after McCann because McCann also didn't have anybody. So, the next waiver claim will go to the next player with the top priority with a player in line, which is Donald. Donald has a claim in for Kristaps Porzingis. Okay? Nobody else has a claim in for Porzingis. Donald gets him. And no one else changes. Then the next claim processes. All these people, these 6 highlighted folks right here, all have nothing. No claims. Ergo, it goes to the next person, which is Talib, who is appropriately perhaps keeping Lame, or acquiring Lame. Talib uses that 7th priority to get Lame. Lame goes on to his active roster. Lame is now off of waivers on Talib's roster. Talib falls to 18th. Everyone else slides up a spot. So, the rest of these people don't have anything, and I know. Wow, TJ already made a claim this time. TJ got somebody. Don't remember who it was, but he got somebody. TJ got way a while ago, got that Chambers guy. So, because nobody ahead of him has a claim in, TJ is again on the priority block. So TJ gets his next choice, which is available, which is McDaniels. So, where do we end now? So that would end, we're going to say that's where the first set of claims end, the 24-hour after drop, the Wednesday at 8 a.m. claims. That's where these end. So, it's a couple of days later. It's the next day. It's Wednesday at 8 a.m. and Ahmad logs on to see if he got anyone. He didn't because somebody blocked him from taking the player he wanted. But hey, Ahmad notices that B-Balls, in order to pick up Adams, did indeed drop somebody that Ahmad wanted. Larry Mullen, the bassist of U2. Bold choice to pick him up in fantasy football, but it works. So Ahmad then uses that first waiver priority that he's been holding on to pick up Larry Mullen. Larry Mullen is now on Ahmad's team. I slide up to first. Ahmad falls to 18th. Everyone else goes up one. And that's where we're going to say this week's waivers ended. No one else wanted any of the scraps that were dropped. And that's where we're going to say this week ended. So this is how things look at the start of the week and at the end of the week. So on Tuesday morning, after all the standings had processed, this right here was the order of waivers. After claims went through and everything, and by, this would be about Thursday, we'll say Thursday at 8 a.m., this is where the ending order was. So, I, at the first priority, would have the right to pick up the player that Ahmad dropped without having to worry because I have the first priority. But if I don't, that's where this change comes in. So, we're going to say, for the sake of this example, that the standings fell the same exact order the next week. Alright, so B-Paul's ended week 2 and he was still in dead last. Gary was in 17th, so on and so forth, until Talib down to 18th. So, under our current system of waivers, the waiver priority list resets every week. So that's what we have over here. Right here, columns A and B. It resets every week in the reverse order of the standings at the end of the week before. So, the week 3 claims are based on the standings at the end of week 2. Under the no resetting change, which is what has been proposed, they would not reset. I would hold the top priority until I decide to claim somebody. Now, I'm not going to try and bias anybody about the vote. I just wanted you guys to be aware of how waivers work, about how the change that we made during this new and old system, and how things would work if we change things versus if we don't change things. I want you guys to be aware. So, this video, it's going to be up on whatever, probably YouTube, whatever. But I'm going to post it in the GroupMe along with the new poll. That poll is going to remain open for 48 hours. That's 2 days. Probably until about, depending what time I get this up, probably around 7 o'clock on the 29th, which is Wednesday, 7 p.m. this will close. For the time being, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the waivers system, anything else, please let me know. You can leave me questions in the GroupMe, you can text me, you can call me, whatever you gotta do. So, signing off for now, it's Mike. There's gonna be a podcast this week. Look out for it. We're gonna have our buddy Ahmad on. That's that, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!